How long have you been worried about an upcoming speech? Is it just a bit of jitters on the night before, or do you worry for weeks? The time you spend worrying is one of the factors making the differences in social anxiety versus shyness. When it comes to mental health, it's not always easy to figure out where the lines are drawn. That's why in this video, we're going to help you settle the debate of social anxiety versus shyness. Before we proceed, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more mental health insights. Let's begin by making something, clearing out some popular myth. Not all those who have anxiety are shy, and not all those who are shy have anxiety. Also, not all introverts are shy and/or anxious, and not all extroverts are free from it. The first step to understanding mental health conditions and people in general is to stop judging based on some label and be open-minded and understanding about the unique mishmash of characteristics of someone. In fact, not all people suffering from social anxiety will seem antisocial. They can seem talkative and friendly, even cracking the occasional joke and making the conversation flow. But internally, they may be battling their anxiety against the desperate need to not be lonely. So, it's no joke when they say you never know what a person is going through. If this pain feels relatable, even in the least bit, there's nothing for you to worry about. Social anxiety is perfectly and easily treatable. Even if therapy is not something you can afford, there are a few self-help tips we'll teach you once we settle the debate of social anxiety versus shyness, which you can slowly adopt into your routine. Now, to figure out the differences between social anxiety and shyness, first and foremost, shyness is a personality trait, and it is not a mental health issue. It's completely okay to be shy when you're facing a new situation or meeting with strangers. Shyness is generally described as a somewhat unpleasant feeling of self-consciousness and nervousness in unfamiliar situations. Some people tend to be a little shyer than the others, and there can be several reasons for it. Culture and parenting are the most significant contributors to shyness. Usually, people from more conservative cultures and those with protective parents tend to be shyer. That means if kids are not exposed to experiences and adventure at a young age, they may grow up to be afraid and uncomfortable with unfamiliarity. But shyness can also take root at a later age. Public humiliation or bullying can make someone nervous about doing something new because of the fear of being judged or made fun of. The reasons for social anxiety run similar to those of shyness, but the trigger for social anxiety is something more intense or prolonged. For instance, continued bullying or a trauma-inducing humiliation can lead to feelings of low self-esteem combined with social anxiety. Prolonged shyness in itself can lead to social anxiety in the long term. Unlike in shyness, social anxiety takes time in the making. This means that the little things add up and eventually turns into a persistent fear. If you are a parent or a caretaker, please keep in mind that the little insulting remarks you pass off as jokes could one day prevent the child from living their life freely. Also, social anxiety can be introduced through a vicarious experience. Maybe that person never experienced any humiliating event, but saw someone going through it. The fear of, what if that was me, can grow so strong as to trigger social anxiety. In addition to that, genetics can also be a cause for social anxiety. If you have a first-degree relative with social anxiety, you may also be 2 to 6 times more likely to develop the disorder. But remember, just because it's in your genes doesn't mean that you're stuck with it for life. People who are shy or have social anxiety are pretty good at blending into the background. Both shyness and social anxiety bring a unique skill set with it, allowing the person affected to cope with it. Shy and socially anxious people are not comfortable with opening up to people, much less strangers. They tend to be quiet and dislike attention. Sometimes they can even come off as mean or standoffish. But they don't mean to be hostile. It's simply that they're afraid of what the interactions might lead to and are acting in self-defense. They also tend to stick to the corners of a crowded room. Even though their short replies and emotional barriers get them labeled antisocial, these people can be lovable and caring. In fact, given their careful, thoughtful, and observant ways, shy or anxious people can be good, empathic listeners. Another feature of shy or anxious people is that the best way to get on their bad side is to yell, "Speak up," at them. It takes effort for them to speak up in a public setting. So, forcing them to be more outgoing or just buck up and speak up is not only daunting, but also downright insulting. Not everyone has the same skills or the same preferences for behavior. Yes, based on all this, the characteristics sound of shyness and social anxiety do sound similar, but the key point in social anxiety versus shyness is how you feel when you're exhibiting these features. There are a few physical symptoms as well as emotional symptoms that draw the line between social anxiety and shyness. Social anxiety can leave you feeling sick, literally. Before an upcoming public activity, socially anxious people can feel literally sick to the stomach. Social anxiety can lead to nausea and digestive problems, or pop up as muscle pains, cold and clammy hands and feet, or severe headaches. Even thinking about a daunting public situation can give them waves of nausea. It can also cause heart palpitations and excessive sweating and trembling. Unlike the difficulty in finding the right words or remembering the right details accompanied by shyness, social anxiety can cause a complete mind blank. This can be followed by a sense of detachment from oneself and their surroundings. Also, with time, shyness subsides. Once the situation or the people begin to feel familiar, they can get more comfortable and the feelings of fear and nervousness will fade away. But this is not always the case with social anxiety. In fact, prolonged exposure can worsen the symptoms or invite a full-blown anxiety attack. At its worst, social anxiety can lead to feelings of depression and suicide. People who have social anxiety are constantly tortured by their minds. They start worrying weeks or even months before an upcoming event. Once it is over, they replay the little mistakes they did over and over again in their minds, feeding into the intense feelings of shame and anxiety. This makes them want to withdraw from social life, leading to loneliness and self-esteem. Since it's hard for someone with social anxiety to open up, they may not feel comfortable talking to anyone to get help, thus withdrawing themselves more and more. All of these feelings can make them feel lonely and depressed. The constant worrying coupled with physical discomfort can make them lose the joy of living, leading to suicidal thoughts. The danger here is since they are not comfortable talking to people, they might not reach out for help. They might feel so trapped in their thoughts and be so used to feeling the way they feel, they might feel trapped. So the main points that settle the debate of social anxiety versus shyness are the intensity of fear, the level of avoidance, and the impairment of functioning it causes in a person's life. Once you figure out that it's not extreme shyness, but social anxiety that's holding you down, it's half the battle won. But it's really difficult to reach this point because those affected by social anxiety are simply labeled too shy and forced to make changes. On the flip side is those affected by extreme shyness during self-diagnosed mental health labels as an excuse. Please keep in mind that both overplaying and underplaying mental conditions carry significant health risks to you and the community. Underplaying it will lead to the person affected not receiving the proper treatment, and overplaying it will make people not take the actual condition seriously. But like we keep mentioning, social anxiety is treatable, and as daunting as it may sound, we really urge you to reach out to someone. It doesn't have to necessarily be a therapist. Just find a time when your anxiety is not bothering you too much and talk to a supportive and trustworthy friend. Take your time and explain your feelings. If a face-to-face conversation feels too scary, then try calling a friend or even texting. If you're not comfortable talking to someone who knows you personally because you're afraid of being judged, that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad friend or a weak person. There are several online groups run by certain websites available on all kinds of platforms from Instagram to Zoom. Just try and search for a group that fits you on the internet. Support groups could really help, since you can realize that you're not alone in your struggle, and that you're not some strangely weak person. Anxiety is not something to freak out over, and you can also learn how other people cope with their anxiety and overcame their fears. Another trick is to create an exposure hierarchy. On a paper, Jot down the situations that make you feel uncomfortable, then arrange them in an order of mild discomfort to a panic attack. This will do two things. One will help you mentally prepare yourself for any upcoming situations. Secondly, you can use this list as a guide to expose yourself to various situations in controlled doses at a pace you're comfortable with. This experience can train your mind to handle situations and can help you understand and control your anxiety. Better the devil you know, they say. Do you have any social anxiety experiences? What methods do you use to tackle your fears? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more mental health insights. Thank you for watching and see you next time.